I think that most people on the island, if they were to look at these figures, rather like the lady that was talking before was saying, would see these really just as a reaffirmation of much of what we already know. The island is very generous by nature. So many charities on the island rely on public donations. We're just one of them, and it is fantastic, particularly when you compare the numbers of people that are giving in the islands, and particularly the Isle of Man. We're perhaps more interested in that than the other two, but it's nice to see that there is some similarities between them. I was looking at a couple of reports from the UK, one from the Charity Aid Foundation and one from the National Philanthropic Trust, never can say that word. They came out last year, and they were indicating that around about 61% of people in the UK give money on a regular basis to charities. So I think we compare very, very well. And so I'm quite sure that the people listening this morning would agree that they're telling us to a degree what we already know, but there's a lot more information in here that I think we as charities need to be looking at very closely, that we can use to help us and help the island.
Well, as you say, looking broadly across the three Crown dependencies, 96, 97%, pretty much all of us. But the amount of money, it makes interesting reading as well, because the Isle of Man, again, comes out on top on that one.
By some considerable distance, because Jersey is estimated as giving around about £23 million, Guernsey 18, and here in the Isle of Man 28 million. Now again, that really doesn't surprise me, because I know that charities like the one that I work for see this benefit on a daily basis, a weekly basis, and of course it's not just about money, it's about time as well. I was looking at this with one of my colleagues last year, and we were trying to estimate how much it would cost us, how much more it would cost us if we had to employ staff rather than use volunteers, because at the moment we have around about 40% of our services are delivered by volunteers, people giving up their time to help the blind and visually impaired community on the island.
Well, as you say, this isn't a surprise to you, and you don't think it will come as much as a surprise to many other charities on the island that do rely quite heavily on charitable donations. What can you learn, or what can other charities learn from information like this?
Well, I think that's a very important point. It's very easy to look at this and to say, well, we already know that. Thanks for the information. You're telling us something we already know. But within the survey, it talks about the kind of information that people would like to see and understand about how charities spend their money, the projects they're working on. And I think we do need to get smarter across the third sector on the island. Certainly I can speak about my own charity and say we're looking very carefully at trying to explain better to people, to be much more transparent about what we spend our money on and what the benefits of that spending are to the people that we work for.
I suppose on the flip side of that as well, what can the third sector and charities take away from this? What can other sectors, what can government learn particularly about how charitable people on the island are, perhaps so reliant on charitable donations that the island might be on community services?
Well, I think that government are aware. We work quite closely with our professional colleagues in some of the statutory services. And of course, it's not just about government, it's about corporate organisations as well. And I think when we look at these figures, Alex, it's important to remember that these are about individual giving. And much of the money that comes into charities doesn't just come from these sources, it comes from large corporate organisations, including, incidentally, the public sector, who will put on Friday dress down days, contribute time and effort to helping provide service. To give you one very quick example, at Christmas we run a carol service, and for the last 2 years we've had the Isle of Man Government Choir come up and sing for us. So I think it's really important that whilst we need money, that we remember it isn't just about money, it's about time. And people, of course, that give money get the personal satisfaction of knowing they're making a difference, and people that give time also have that same feeling. You know, we live in a great place with very generous people.